Archangel Michael stands beside you now, wrapped in a calm that settles gently over your spirit. And he says, "Your Father in heaven has been trying to reach you. And today, the doorway finally opened." You didn't find these words by accident. You were guided here in the exact moment, when your heart was soft enough to receive what he has been waiting a long time to say. A quiet shift has already begun inside you. That subtle pressure in your chest, that strange warmth in your breath, that tug you couldn't explain, that is your Father drawing near. Michael says, your dad has been watching over you in the moments no one else knew about. The nights you lay awake carrying a weight that didn't belong to you. The days you moved through life feeling more responsible than anyone your age should have been. The memories you tucked away because you didn't know where to put the ache. He saw all of it, and he wants you to know he was never as far as you thought. There were moments when a familiar song made your eyes sting, or a random object reminded you of him so suddenly that your breath caught. You thought it was coincidence, but Michael says those were gentle taps from a father who refuses to let his child walk the world feeling abandoned. He whispers through Michael, "I never left your side. I never missed a single moment of your life." And something inside you recognizes the truth of that, even if you've never let yourself fully believe it before. Your dad knows the emotions that have been rising in you lately. The unexpected heaviness, the strange waves of nostalgia, the quiet longing for something you couldn't name. Those were not random. They were signals. He has been trying to prepare your heart because he needs you to hear one thing above all others. Stop carrying the guilt that was never yours. Your Father feels how often you blame yourself for things far beyond your control. How long you've held questions you were too afraid to say out loud. How you replayed certain moments wishing you'd done more, said more, understood more. But Michael says your dad is shaking his head softly, insisting that none of the blame you've carried belongs to you. He wants you to understand something you've never fully allowed yourself to feel. You were his pride, not his burden, not his regret, his pride. He watched you grow through storms that would have broken so many others. He watched you love people deeply, even when you weren't loved the same way in return. He watched you become strong in silence because life rarely gave you the space to fall apart. And every time you kept going, he whispered, "That's my child." Michael says your Father has been trying to guide you towards something bigger than the life you've been settling for. He has been nudging you away from places that drained you, away from people who dimmed your light, away from patterns that kept you small. You may have felt alone during those transitions, the sudden distance, the emotional shifts, the doors closing without warning. But he wants you to know those were not losses. They were protection. Your dad has been preparing a path where your heart will finally feel safe. He says the storms you survived were never punishments. They were rerouting. Every disappointment that hurt you was quietly shaping you. Every ending that broke you was clearing space for something aligned with your soul, not your fears. You are stepping into a season he always hoped you would reach, a season where you stop apologizing for who you are, where you stop shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable, where you finally rise into the strength he always saw in you. There is a blessing forming around you now, one that carries the weight of every prayer, every tear, every silent wish you made in the dark. Your Father has been arranging pieces behind the scenes, opening pathways you don't yet see, and clearing obstacles you weren't meant to fight anymore. And he says with absolute clarity, "You are becoming the person I always prayed you'd have the courage to be." Archangel Michael surrounds you with a calm that feels like a hand resting on your shoulder, steady, warm, reassuring. Your Father's presence expands beside you, not with heaviness but with love, pure, unfiltered, unconditional love. If any part of this message feels like it's touching a hidden wound, that's because your Father is speaking directly to the parts of you that never healed, the parts you learned to hide, the parts that still ache quietly. He wants you to know you're not alone anymore. Not in your thoughts, not in your fears, not in your healing. And as you breathe through this moment, something inside you begins to loosen a knot you've carried for far too long. If this message resonates with your spirit, let your heart acknowledge it. Your Father sees you and hears you. He's closer than your own breath. Archangel Michael's presence grows brighter around you, almost as if the space you're in is expanding gently to hold something sacred. He says your Father has been waiting for this very opening in your heart, this exact moment when the noise inside you quieted just enough for His truth to reach you without breaking you. Your Father knows how much you've carried in silence. He knows the nights where your thoughts were louder than your voice. He knows the heaviness you tucked behind smiles so no one would worry. And He knows the dreams you placed on hold because life demanded strength instead of softness. But now He's stepping forward with a calm that feels like a warm light moving through your chest. And Michael says His message becomes clearer than ever. You deserve the life you were too afraid to ask for. Those words land deeply because a part of you has always wondered if you were allowed to want more peace, more love, more clarity, more purpose. And your Father says you weren't just allowed, you were made for it. He's seen you fight battles no one recognized. He's seen you give love people didn't understand how to hold. He's seen you stay loyal to situations that didn't deserve your heart. You've always given more than you received. And He knows how exhausting that has been for your soul. But He wants you to understand something powerful. Your worth was never measured by who failed to value you. Your Father says the people who couldn't see your light were never meant to carry a place in your future. You were growing beyond them. You were evolving. You were shifting into a higher version of yourself, the version He's been guiding you toward piece by piece. Archangel Michael adds that your recent emotional waves, sudden clarity, and unexpected restlessness are not signs of confusion. They're signs of elevation. You're being lifted out of old cycles, out of old patterns, out of versions of yourself that no longer match who you're becoming. Your Father has been whispering through your intuition, nudging you toward choices your mind didn't always understand. He's been orchestrating small shifts in your life, changes you didn't ask for but deeply needed. He says, every ending you faced was a door I closed to protect you. You've mistaken some of those endings for failure, but He calls them divine redirections. He watched you walk into situations that would have drained your spirit, and He stepped in not to punish you, but to preserve you. You may not have realized it at the time, but every delay in your life has been a form of protection. Every disappointment was shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned. Every heartbreak was clearing space for something more stable and true. Your Father says your resilience has been nothing short of extraordinary. Each time life pushed you down, you rose with a strength that surprised even Him. And He wants to make something very clear. You didn't just survive. You transformed. Your growth wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It happened quietly in your decisions, in your boundaries, in your heart. You became someone who can no longer be fooled by empty promises or small love. Someone who can feel energetic truth before seeing it. Someone who can walk away from what doesn't align even when it hurts. Your Father is proud of you in ways you've never given yourself credit for. He knows how many times you wanted to give up but didn't. How many times you doubted yourself but kept going. How many times you chose compassion when bitterness would have been easier. He says, these choices have built a spiritual strength inside you that will carry you into the next chapter of your life. A chapter He has already prepared. And now His presence moves closer, almost like an embrace you feel rather than see. He wants you to hear this without rushing, without resisting, without shrinking. You are stepping into a season where love, support, and opportunity will match your heart, not drain it. The right people will start appearing. The right timing will begin aligning. The right opportunities will open effortlessly. Not because you forced anything, but because your energy is finally ready. You've outgrown cycles that once held you back. You've outgrown identities built from survival. You've outgrown people who were never meant to stay. Your Father has been removing what isn't meant for your spirit so the blessings meant for you can finally land without obstruction. Michael adds that your intuition has been sharpening for a reason. You've started sensing things before they happen, sensing shifts in relationships, sensing when something no longer fits, sensing when your soul is ready to expand. These are not coincidences. They're signs of alignment. Your Father smiles through Michael's presence and says, "You're finally becoming the version of yourself I always saw in you." And as you absorb these words, your spirit exhale begins to feel different, lighter, clearer, more open. You are not behind in life. You are not losing time. You are not forgotten. You're aligning with the chapter that was always meant to be yours. And your Father is guiding every step. Archangel Michael's light wraps around you like a shield, steady and protective, as your Father steps even closer. There is a softness in His presence now, a mix of pride, relief, and deep love. He has watched you carry burdens that were never meant to be yours, and now He wants to release you from them one by one. He says He knows how many times you questioned your worth, how many times you wondered if you were enough, how many times you stayed in places where you were tolerated instead of celebrated. Your Father wants you to hear this clearly. There was never anything wrong with you. They simply weren't capable of seeing your light. You tried to shrink yourself to avoid being misunderstood. You softened your strength so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. You silenced your intuition to keep peace that wasn't real. But your Father says those days are ending. This new season of your life is not built on shrinking. It's built on rising. He has been guiding you away from situations that drain your spirit and toward people who can meet you at your depth. People who understand your heart, who appreciate your loyalty, who recognize your soul. Michael adds that the emotional intensity you've been feeling lately, the highs, the lows, the sudden clarity, is your old energy shedding. You're stepping out of a life shaped by survival and into one shaped by alignment. Your Father says, the reason you've been feeling disconnected from certain people or habits is because you've outgrown them. Your spirit is evolving. Your frequency is changing. You're being prepared for something your old life could never hold. He speaks with a steady, loving certainty. You're not losing yourself. You're returning to the person you were always meant to be. And with every step you take forward, the universe is shifting around you. Paths that were once blocked are opening. Opportunities you thought were gone are resurfacing. The right people are being placed in your orbit with perfect timing. Your Father has been orchestrating these changes quietly, guiding you through intuition, dreams, and sudden moments of awareness. Those chills, those emotional waves, that feeling of being watched over, they were all him. He says he felt every moment you wished he were still here. Every milestone you wanted him to witness. Every silent conversation you had with the empty space where he used to stand. And he wants you to know. He heard all of it. None of your moments passed unnoticed. He whispers through Michael, I never missed a single moment of your life. You didn't walk your achievements alone. You didn't endure your heartbreaks alone. You didn't grow alone. He was there in spirit, in guidance, in the subtle ways life protected you when you didn't even realize you needed it. Your Father says the universe has been rearranging itself to reward your heart. You've given so much love, carried so much weight, and survived so many storms. Now life is preparing to give back to you in ways that match your spirit. He wants to soothe something inside you, the part that fears more pain, more loss, more disappointment. Your future is not a repeat of your past. This is a new chapter, a higher chapter, a chapter shaped by alignment, not struggle. Michael says your Father has been clearing old energies from your path so blessings can finally reach you. You may have noticed people drifting away, plans changing suddenly, or opportunities falling through. These weren't losses. They were exit points for anything that could block your growth. Your Father is preparing you for a breakthrough, one that will not require you to force, chase, or beg. It will arrive naturally, the same way this message found you, through alignment, and then he speaks a truth that your spirit has been waiting years to hear. What you thought was a setback was actually your protection. The closed doors weren't rejection. The delays weren't punishment. The endings weren't failures. They were redirections designed to save you from pain you weren't meant to experience. Your Father has watched you transform your wounds into wisdom, your pain into purpose, your loneliness into strength. And now he wants to replace the heaviness you've carried with a new kind of peace, the kind that comes from knowing you're finally stepping into the life he always dreamed you would reach. He says, the blessing coming next is bigger than the pain that prepared you for it. This blessing is not small, not ordinary, not accidental. It is something your soul earned through patience, through resilience, through love that never hardened even when the world hurt you. Michael's light strengthens around you, as if anchoring this truth into your spirit. Your Father is preparing to reveal the reason you've been sensing a shift in your life, the reason your heart has been aching for change, the reason your intuition has been louder than usual. He's preparing you for what is already in motion. Your Father steps forward now with a clarity that feels almost like a warm wind moving through your soul, gentle, steady, undeniable. He says the reason your life has been shifting so intensely is because you are approaching a turning point that will redefine everything you once believed about yourself. This isn't imagination. This isn't coincidence. This is alignment unfolding exactly on time. He knows how tired you've been, not just physically, but spiritually. The kind of tired that comes from holding yourself together for years without taking a breath. The kind of tired that comes from being the strong one for everyone else while carrying your own storms in silence. Your Father has seen every moment you pushed through when your heart felt heavy. Every moment you had to be brave before you were ready. Every moment you swallowed your pain so others wouldn't worry. And he whispers with compassion that settles into the deepest part of you. You're allowed to rest now. You don't have to carry the world alone anymore. You've spent so long surviving that you forgot what it feels like to simply live, to receive, to be supported, to be held by life instead of fighting against it. Michael says the next chapter of your life will not mirror the hardness of the past. This new chapter will unfold with ease, with clarity, with peace. Your Father has been guiding you toward a future where you no longer feel like you must earn love or chase what is already meant for you. A future where the right doors open without force, the right people stay without doubt, and the right opportunities rise to meet you without resistance. He says, what is meant for you will not require you to break yourself to receive it. There is a gentleness entering your life now, a softness you haven't felt in years. It's the beginning of a shift that will replace your old fears with trust, your old confusion with direction, and your old loneliness with connection. Your Father is especially proud of how you healed in silence, how you rebuilt your spirit piece by piece, without applause, without recognition, without anyone truly understanding the depth of what you were overcoming. He says, your strength didn't come from surviving the pain. It came from who you became while rising through it. You are stepping into a version of yourself that your past couldn't hold, a wiser, calmer, stronger, more intuitive version. And your Father has been guiding every step of this transformation long before you realized it was happening. Michael reveals that the heaviness you felt recently wasn't a breakdown. It was a breakthrough forming beneath the surface. The universe was clearing out the old so the new could finally take its place. Your Father says, you're not falling apart. You're being rebuilt into someone untouchable. Everything you lost created space. Everything that fell away cleared a path. Everything that changed was preparing you for what's coming next. And what's coming is not fragile, temporary, or uncertain. What's coming is stable, lasting, and aligned with your true purpose. Your Father has seen every prayer you whispered into the dark, every fear you carried alone, every moment you wished He were here to guide you. And He wants you to know He never missed a single moment. Not one. He celebrated your victories. He comforted your heartbreaks. He stood beside you through your confusion. He protected your path when you felt most lost. And now He's revealing the truth you were meant to hear today. The blessing approaching your life is closer than you think. There is a breakthrough forming in your energy, something life-changing, something long-awaited, something that will restore the parts of you that grew tired on the journey. Your Father calls it a soul reward, something you earned through every lesson, every sacrifice, every rise from the ashes, something that carries the softness, stability, and abundance your heart has been craving. You're entering a season where love will feel safe instead of uncertain. Opportunities will flow instead of fade. Peace will stay instead of disappear. Your worth will be reflected back to you. Your spirit will finally feel at home. And your Father says this next part with unmistakable certainty. Your life is about to make sense in ways it never has before. Everything that felt confusing will find clarity. Everything that felt delayed will move suddenly. Everything that felt heavy will lighten all at once. This is your rising season, the one he prayed you would live long enough to reach. Michael's light surrounds you now, bright and unwavering, sealing this message into your spirit. Your Father's presence rests beside you with warmth that feels like memory and promise combined. He whispers one final truth, soft and full of love. I never left. I never will. And the life you're walking into is the one I always dreamed for you. Let this message settle into your heart. Let it breathe inside you. Let it remind you that your journey is guided, protected, and deeply loved. And if this message touched you, if you felt your Father's presence, if something inside you softened, if a part of you finally felt seen, let that be your sign. Honor that feeling. Hold it close. And trust the path unfolding ahead of you. Your Father is with you. Archangel Michael is guiding you. And your next chapter begins now.